Hello everybody. So this is the second part of the discussion on Poisson process. So as I told before, this is in case you find the MIT lectures harder to follow. So if you want to listen to my version, so that is what I'm talking about here. So let's talk about the first thing that Sitsiklis discusses, which is this problem. But before that, I would like to actually talk about something else. Okay, so in yesterday's class, so we were talking about yk. Yk of yk is basically, what is this? So yk is the time for kth arrival. So there is a small, very minute mistake that I said, but I just want to correct it. So time for the kth arrival. So we were looking at the distribution of yk of t. Okay, so now let's suppose that if you want to actually say that the kth arrival happens at t, since this is a continuous time event, so we need to take a small interval delta around it, right? This is what we discussed, and then what we drew was essentially a timeline like this. You have 0 to t, then there is a small interval of time delta. So what we said was that if the kth arrival happens in this small interval around t, k minus 1 should have happened in this interval, right? So k minus 1 should have happened here. So this is what we said, and we said that this delta is so small that you cannot have two arrivals in this time gap. Okay, so this is what we said. So now we have to, if you want to write this in language, you say that probability kth arrival happens in period t. So let's just write closed interval t comma t plus delta. Okay, and k minus 1 arrivals happen in time t. Okay, so now once we wrote this, what we did is we said that the Poisson process, each arrival in a Poisson process, what happens till a particular time t has no impact in the future. So that way we can say that they are independent, and then we can split this. So we can split this into two probabilities. So we can say kth arrival in t comma t plus delta, and we can say probability that k minus 1 arrival happens in time t. So now we have already discussed the Bernoulli model. So if the parameter is lambda, so if so this kth arrival with the parameter lambda is a Poisson process. So if you take that way, then what we can say is the probability that there is an arrival in t to t plus delta, that we have said is lambda delta, and this is nothing but tk minus 1 t. So this is where I made the mistake. I wrote this as tau. Okay, so but here we are talking about density, right? So it is t. So this delta cancels, and then we can write this as lambda. This k minus arrival in time t, that we know exactly what it is. So that is lambda t to the power of k minus 1 divided by k minus 1 factorial into e power minus lambda t. So this is the Erlang distribution. So I said everything, all the t's I said as though it is tau, and that's a very minor mistake, but I thought I should just clarify. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about, and now we will come to Poisson fishing. This is an example which Sitsiklis gives. Okay, so here is a case. So you have there is a fisherman who is fishing in a pond. Okay, and catching a fish, as you all can understand, it's a random thing, right? So you have to be lucky, and it has to be working out in your favor. So it can be elegantly, so these kind of events, okay, can be elegantly modeled as Poisson. So the rate is 0.6 per hour. So the fisherman has a rule. Okay, so he is going to fish for 2 hours no matter what. Okay, so he's going to fish for 2 hours no matter what. If there is no catch in the 2 hours, he's going to continue till he catches more fish. Okay, so that is what is the question. So now we have to now try to answer each of this question. All right, so yes, so let's do this. So if you fish, so let's say question number 1 is, what's the probability that the fisherman will fish for more than 2 hours? Okay, so the only way the fisherman is going to fish more than 2 hours is when he does not catch anything in the 2 hours. So this is going to be probability that he catches 0 fish in 2 hours. Okay, so that is what this is. So this is given by, so now we know the formula for this. It is lambda t is 2. Okay, lambda is actually 0.6, so let's write this 0.6 into 2 to the power of 0 divided by 0 factorial, okay, into e power minus 0.6 into 2. So all of this is equal to 1. So this is e power minus 1.2. So this is this. Now we can also attempt this from the other way. So if you look at the timeline, okay, if he has not caught any fish, so 0 to 2 hours, the first fish he catches will be after 2 hours. Okay, so this can be even thought of. So we know that if k is equal to 1, yk becomes equal to t1. So that is the time till you catch the first fish. This is t1. Okay, so we can say the probability that he stays for 2 hours is probability that t1 is greater than 2. Okay, so now that is what that is. So now that is given by 0 to infinity, so 2 to infinity, right? So 2 to infinity. Okay, lambda is so it's we know that t1 is distributed as exponential with the rate lambda. So lambda, what is the density? Density is ft1 of t is lambda e power minus lambda t. Okay, so we will use that. So lambda is 0.6 e power minus 0.6 t dt. So if you integrate this, you are going to get you will get so if you integrate this, you will get e power 0.6 t, okay, negative. So this is what it is, and this will be evaluated between 0 to infinity, and that turns out to be also e power minus 1.2. So you can see that either you can treat it completely as a discrete process. So this Poisson is a discrete, right? This is discrete. Either you can treat it completely like discrete, or if you treat it as continuous and look it as exponential, you'll also get the same answer. Okay, so this is not a coincidence, because we have already shown that one and the other are very related, right? So that is what this is. So that's the first question. So now let's look at question number 2. So the question number 2 is saying the fisherman fishes for more than 2 hours and less than 5 hours. So that means, so since he is doing fishing more than 0 to 2, okay, so the first arrival happens somewhere here. Okay, so this is where he goes home, but let's assume if he stayed. So these are all imaginary things, but it's possible that he could have fished between 2 to 5 some more fishes. Okay, so again now we will try to attempt first to do it in Poisson arrival first. Okay, so from 2 to 5 the interval is 3 hours. Okay, and what we are saying is that in 3 hours the fisherman at least gets one fish. Only then he can go home, right? So we will say this as P. Yeah, so P 0 of 3, this means he catches no fish, but 1 minus this is at least one fish. So this is what we have to consider. All right, so this is the answer. So let's just plug in what that value will be. So this will be 1 minus this, we have already done once, so this looks like 1 minus e power minus 1.8. So this is completely the discrete treatment or the Poisson idea. And now let's look at the idea that we are treating that first arrival happens after 2 hours but less than 5. All right, so that is the exponential idea. So let's do that. So this is also equal to 2 to 5. So somewhere between 2 to 5 he catches the fish. So the first arrival has to be in between that. So this would be 0.6 into e power minus 0.6 t, which is equal to. So one mistake that I did is that the question part B is actually saying that he is fishing for more than 2 hours. It's not just saying that he is catching one fish in this 3-hour period. He has caught 0 fish in the other period. So this will be into probability that he catches 0 fish in 2 hours. So this will be 0 fish in 2 hours. We know what that probability is, e power minus 1.2. Okay. So now let's do this other part. So this will be 0.6 t. Now we evaluate it between 5 and 2. So this is negative. So this will be e power 1.2 t minus e power 3 t. So this is same as this. So both these are same. Okay, so that's how we can do this. All right. So next let's look at the case that the fisherman catches at least 2 fishes. So how can fisherman catch 2 fish? So if the fisherman catches no fish in 0 to t, okay, the moment he catches 1 fish, he goes home. So it cannot be the case that the fisherman is catching no fish in 0 to t. Okay, so that's one thing. So if the fisherman, let's say, catches 1 fish from 0 to t, okay, 1 fish from 0 to 2 hours, even then, as soon as 2 hours is over, he will leave. Okay, so the only way he can catch at least 2 fish is if he catches those 2 fish here. Okay, so this again, now let's look at from the Poisson point of view. So the fact that he catches at least 2 fish, that means he catches 2, 3, 4 or so, it has to happen in 0 to 2 interval itself. So we can say that that probability is 1 minus probability that he catches 0 fish in 0 to t plus probability that he catches 1 fish in 0 to 2 hours. Okay, so that is what this number is. Okay, so now if you want to do it from the other point, the exponential idea, so what we are saying is the second arrival has to happen between 0 to t. Okay, so second arrival has to be less than 0 to 2 hours. So that is P of y2 is less than or equal to 2. Okay, so that's what this is, and we know what is the distribution of y2. So you can actually try this. So you will get the same answer. So you can try it and you will see that it will get the same answer. Okay. So now looking at part D, expected number of fishes. Okay. So that is part D. Let's attempt that now. So the expected number of fishes, how we can say, so this is going to be the conditional expectation that we discussed, that we will discuss in the class, or if you have already seen, that is all explained. So this is going to be, so let's denote y. So part D, let me write here. Okay, so let's say y is equal to 1 or 0. Y is 1 if he catches at least 1 fish. In 0 to 2. Okay, and it's 0 otherwise. So let us do this conditional on y. So we know that part D, the solution will be using the iterated expectation formula. So it will be expected value of number of fish condition on y, and expectation of that will be the expected number of fish. So let's write that. So probability that y is equal to 1, and then expected value of n given y equal to 1, okay, plus probability that y equal to 0 and expected value of n given y is equal to 0. Okay, so now if y is equal to 1, that means he has caught at least one fish. Okay, so given that he has caught at least one fish, so I suddenly realized that the approach I am taking is different from what Tsitsikiles has done, but I think that's interesting. So let's do this. So let's try to evaluate expected value of n given y equal to 1. Okay, so this is going to be summation over n. Okay, n at least one fish, right? So that means n can take 1 to infinity. Okay, so this will be probability that capital N takes the value n given y equal to 1. Okay, so this is going to be then equal to n equal to 1 to infinity. Okay, so this is n times probability that capital N is equal to n, comma y equal to 1, okay, comma y equal to 1 and y equal to 1 divided by probability y equal to 1. So now since I am considering the fishes n from 1 to infinity, this is actually equal to probability n times probability capital N equal to n. Okay, so this is whole thing condenses to just 1 divided by probability y equal to 1. So let's simplify further. This actually becomes 1 over p y equal to 1 into summation n being taking value 1 to infinity. Okay, p n equal to n, that means this is actually equal to probability that you caught n fishes in the first 2 hours. Okay, and we are taking all the possible values. So this if you look at it carefully, this is same as this inner thing. Okay, so let's write it 1 over p y equal to 1. So if I so this is I have to have a n, I have just swallowed that by mistake, but this is also equal to summation n equal to 0 to infinity, because I am adding only a 0 term. Okay, so this, and that is nothing but 1 over p y equal to 1 into, this is lambda. So this is the same thing as expected value of the number of fishes that I am catching in 2 hour period, that is lambda t. Okay, so lambda times 2 hours, 2 lambda, lambda into 2. So this is 2 into 0.6, so 1.2. Okay, so this is 1 over p by 1 and this one cancels. So let me write it in blue. So this term and this term cancels. So you get lambda into 2 plus the fact that if you are not catching any fish in the first 2 hours, what does that mean? You will wait till you catch one fish. So this will be probability that y equal to 0 into 1. So this is what it is. So let's write that. So this is equal to 1.2 plus, what is the probability that y equal to 0? That means you catch no fish in the first 2 hours. This is e power minus 1.2. So that's the answer. Okay, so that is this. So now this is for this. Now let's talk about part E. So expected future time, that given that I have already fished for 4 hours. So if I am fishing for 4 hours, that means 0 to 4 I have got no fish. All right, and how much more time do you expect to wait? Now since Poisson since this first arrival time T1, right, that's the first time when you catch the first fish. So this is distributed as exponential with rate lambda, and the fact that you have waited only for about 4 hours and how much more that you expect to wait, this information is like, it's at this point you are starting fresh. Okay, because it's a memoryless system. So fact that there is no fish caught in 0 to 4 hours does not make it any more likely that you will catch any fish immediately. So it's as though you are going to start again, and this is going to be 1 over lambda. So for part E, so this is 1 over 0.6. which is I don't know, something like 5 by 3. All right, so this is part E. Now let's look at the total fishing time. So the total fishing time, one thing is, no matter what, you are going to fish for 2 hours. Okay, beyond 2 hours you will fish only if you catch 0 fish in 2 hours. Okay, then after that you will wait till you catch the first fish. That distribution again is going to be geometric, and the expected time that you will continue after 2 hours is going to be as though it is started fresh, and that is going to be 1 over lambda. Okay, so this is part F. I hope all of these things are clear. If nothing, if you have some questions in this, you can ask me and we will discuss this offline or in email. Okay, thanks. So this is the first question. So let's move on. Okay, so now yesterday in the last lecture we saw that we had this merging of Poisson processes. What we took is that there were 2 Poisson processes. One was coming from one stream, another one was coming from another stream. We said that this is also Poisson process with rate lambda 1 plus lambda 2. If you remember, what we did was we took a small interval and then we argued that, so you have this main stream, let us say these are the 2 streams. So this is Poisson with lambda 1, let's say this is Poisson with lambda 2. So basically the idea is you have divided this into all these small delta streams. Okay, so probability that there is an arrival here, it depends on lambda delta. So whenever there is an arrival, we push the arrival into the combined process. This is the merge process. Okay, and then whenever there is an arrival here, we push it. So like this we have created the merged thing. Okay, now so this we have, and we argued that for a very small interval it is very unlikely that you will have arrival from both, from the same time period there will not be 2 arrivals. So it will be from one or the other. Okay, now if I told lambda 1 is equal to lambda 2, okay, then if I ask you, given that there is an arrival here, what is the chance that it came from either of the stream, then the probability will be half. Okay, if lambda 1 equal to lambda 2, then the source, okay, the source of the merged thing is equally likely. Okay, so now if lambda 1 and lambda 2 are different, then it's easy to see that the probability that if there is an arrival here, so probability that it is from source 1, given that there is an arrival in merged process. Okay, you can show this is equal to lambda 1 divided by lambda 1 plus lambda 2. So if lambda 1 is more, this will put more emphasis. So that is what this is. Okay, so this is one thing. So this is one, and now what we can also show is that if there are 2 such things, so this is let's say source at time t, and this is source at time t prime. So we are talking about what is the probability that source at time t, given that you have an arrival. Okay, given that you have an arrival, so this, you know, the probability is this. Okay, but furthermore what we can say is that these are independent. Okay, the reason is same, because these regions, these time periods are independent. Okay, so when these time periods are independent, this the whatever comes here is also independent. See, there is a important point. Okay, if lambda 1 is bigger, the source 1 chances are more. Okay, but just because this is source 1 here, it doesn't mean that it will be source 1 here, even though lambda 1 is bigger. Okay, the probability that you have a source 1 will be this higher number, but again it will be a coin toss with this probability. Okay, and only if it turns out head, then only it will be done. So basically if you look at the source given arrival, that behaves like a Bernoulli process. Okay, so that's not very surprising, right? Because the Poisson process also was constructed as a limit of a Bernoulli process. Okay, so now let us look at the next example, which is the light bulb example. So there are 3 light bulbs, light bulb 1, light bulb 2, light bulb 3. Each of them, they are saying the lifetime of each of them is exponential with rate lambda. Okay, it's an exponential distribution. Okay, it's not e power. I hope that is clear. This is exponential distribution with rate lambda. This is exponential distribution with rate lambda. Okay, so the time till each of this last is going to be exponential. So it could be something like this, some such thing. All right, so this time is exponential with rate lambda, this time is exponential with rate lambda, this time is exponential with rate lambda. So the expected time till the last bulb last, and of course they are also independent. So basically if you say T1, T2, T3 as the time, so basically what we are saying is we are interested in expected value of max of T1, T2, T3. So that's what we are interested in, right? Because that's the time till the last light bulb lasts. Okay. So this is the whole idea. So let us try to analyze how we can solve this. Okay, so the way to analyze is coming from previous discussion. It's the idea of merged process. Okay, so now let's try to look at it from the point of view of merge process. So what we do, we take L1, L2, L3. Okay, we know the lifetime is exponential, right? That we know. But we can also think of it as Poisson process. Assume that there is a light bulb that breaks, so then you replace with another light bulb of the same kind. You know, here also you replace, and then you can think of this as a long Poisson process. So like that you can think. Okay, and then we can have a merged process. L is merged process with exponential 3 lambda. Okay, which is like I am combining all the three. Okay, so you have L1, L2 and L3, and I am combining it as a single Poisson process L. Okay, so the first burnout happens when there is arrival in either of the three, or in other words there is an arrival in the merge process. So okay, so that is when the first burnout happens. So let's do that. So the first burnout time, expected value for the first burnout is equal to 1 over 3 lambda, because the rate is 3. Now once the first burnout happens, whichever light bulb, whichever light broke, you are not going to have a continuation. So assume that this was the first burnout. What we do is we discard all these rest of the things, we discard this Poisson process completely. Okay, and it doesn't matter, because till this time since this has happened, till this time nothing has happened in L2 and L3, but the rest of this is continuing to behave as exponential. This you know, right? Because it's a memoryless system. So we can completely discard it, and as though we are starting with just 2 light bulbs, we can start treating this as 2 light bulbs. Then we can talk about expected value of second burnout. Okay, now that thing can be thought of as a merge process, where there is just 2 Poisson processes involved, and the expected time is 1 over 2 lambda. Okay, once the second burnout happens, 2 of the 3 will go away, only 1 will be left. So expected time for the third burnout will be 1 over lambda. Okay, so the total time for all the 3 burnouts, or the max, will be 1 over 3 lambda plus 1 over 2 lambda plus 1 over lambda. Okay, so this is the required thing. All right. What we looked previously was merging of Poisson process. The same way we can talk about splitting. So basically this is an example again from Tsitsikilis slides. So what he is looking at is email traffics arriving at MIT. So some of them can be coming from US. So somebody from US might have mailed him. So that is with probability P, it will be from US, and with 1 minus P probability it will be from this. Okay, so the idea is there is a central process here, which is Poisson with rate lambda. Okay, then whenever there is an arrival, you put it in one stream with probability P, and with 1 minus P you put it in the other stream. So this is Poisson stream, this is the stream 1. Okay, this is stream 2. Okay, so now if you look at small arrivals in each of the streams here, like delta intervals here. Okay, so very small intervals. So whenever there is an arrival here, if there is an arrival here, that means there has been an arrival here. What is the chance of having an arrival here? That is lambda delta, remember. And given that there is an arrival here, what is the chance that there is an arrival here? Because the coin toss is independent, this will be lambda delta P. So similarly for the other side, it will be lambda delta 1 minus P. Okay, so this is the probability that there is an arrival here. Now when you have this lambda delta P, so you can rewrite this as lambda P into delta, and this you can write it as lambda into 1 minus P into delta. So now that is nothing but Poisson, right? Now the rate what was lambda has become P lambda. That's the only thing. So whenever you split a Poisson process, each output stream is going to be a Poisson. So that is the next thing. So merging, when you merge two things, you got Poisson. When you split also, you get Poisson. Okay. So the only important thing is the coin toss that's happening, which splits it, should be independent. Okay. Now the next example is about a very curious phenomena called as random incidence for Poisson. Okay. So now imagine that there is a bus service which the company says is a Poisson with the rate lambda be equal to 2 buses per hour. So we know what is the interbus arrival time. So that is exponential with rate lambda. So expected value of bus arrival, okay, arrivals, interbus arrivals is equal to 1 over 4, okay, which is going to be 15 minutes. Now, but you are a person who has been hired to verify whether that's a true claim. So what you do is you choose a random time. So let's say you are looking at a 24-hour period, you choose a time without any bias, you just arrive at a certain time and then you arrive at this time. So you realize that the last bus that has passed is about 12-13 minutes before, and now you are looking at what is the time before the bus will arrive. So now since the inter-arrival is an exponential distribution which is memoryless, the expected value of T1 is also going to be 15 minutes. So roughly in this particular day, what you saw is it took 28 minutes before the bus arrived. So now if you do that again and again and again and again, it turns out that this number is not anywhere close to 15. Okay, so the question is this something problem? Are the bus companies lying? Okay, or there is something wrong in the way in which you are testing this. So let us say why this can happen. Let's try to justify it. Okay, so if you remember the Poisson process, what we did was we divided the intervals into small delta, right? If this was indeed a if this was indeed a Poisson process with the same lambda, so the probability that something arrives is lambda delta uniformly, right? So now given that this time we know that this time if you look at it, this is going to be like an exponential distribution. This, if you start from here, this is going to be like a completely new Poisson process. So the first arrival time is exponentially distributed. So this one, expected value of T1 will be equal to 15 minutes. Now if you think about this picture, it's like it's a reverse Poisson process, but there is no difference, right? There is always this delta interval, and the chances that each arrival happens is lambda delta. So if you think about this as a reverse thing, okay, so this is called time reversing. So expected value of T2 is also 15. Okay, so therefore if you look at this calculation, whenever your method you employ, the expected observed arrival, okay, is going to be 2 times expected arrival in a Poisson process, which is 30 minutes. Okay, what is the thing that's going wrong? Okay, so this is a simple idea of basically this is a problem in your methodology in which you are sampling. Okay, so the reason being, if you consider these are all the buses that are coming to this bus stop. Okay, sometimes the bus arrival is very long between two, right? That is, since it's a random thing, this is longer. But since you are choosing the time uniformly, there is a good chance that you will arrive in big intervals. In the small intervals, you will never arrive. Okay, when you come to inspect, it is good chance that you will arrive in big intervals. So that is the reason why you are seeing this observed arrival is twice the actual arrival. Okay, so how do you fix this? In order to fix this, you should not sample on time, you should sample on the buses. You sample whenever you see one bus, you look at what is the next bus. Okay, so you have to look at buses and not the time. So if you call this bus 1, this has bus 2, bus 3, okay, bus 4 and so on. So you have to sample the buses. You randomly pick some buses and then you see what's the arrival between that bus and the next bus. So when you do that, you will actually get 15 minutes. So I will make you do an assignment for this. Okay, so you will realize that this is actually what is happening. Okay, so I hope the idea that, so this is a problem, right? So if you see, for example, this is its fundamental thing that happens in probability. So if you look at traffic, when you are stuck in a traffic, what you typically see is that the lane that you are in is more crowded than the other lane. Okay, because the reason is similar, because there is more traffic in one lane, the chances that you are in that lane is more higher, assuming that there was equally chance of going either lane. Okay, so this is just a general thing that happens. It's just the way, this is a bias that comes in the whole process. Okay, so I hope this idea was interesting. Okay, so now moving on. So now if the previous example was not clear, Sitsiklis actually goes on to explain one more example. So basically this arrivals, right, you look at a series of successive arrivals, that is a part of that's part of a subject called as renewal process. So if you see Sheldon Pross, there is a chapter related to this. So in the renewal process, typically you have inter-arrival times which are IID, but not necessarily exponential. So if it is exponential, it becomes Poisson process, remember, right? So if the inter-arrival times were IID and exponential, it becomes Poisson process, but it's not always the case. So if you didn't understand the previous example, I hope this new example will help you to understand, and then you can go back to the previous example. So let us say there is a company which has bus operate inter-arrival either 5 or 10, and each of the two are equally likely. So let's say you have something like this. There is a 5-minute bus, then there is another 5-minute bus, then maybe there is a 10-minute bus, then a 10 minutes, then another 5 minutes. But on the average, each of the buses are equally likely, right? So there are equal number of 5 and 10 minutes buses. Okay, so this happens by a coin flip. So depending upon that, you send a bus at 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So expected bus arrival time, what is that going to be? Expected arrival time is, of course, each are equally likely. So 5 divided by 2 plus 10 divided by 2. This is going to be 5 divided by 2 plus 10 divided by 2, which is equal to 2.5 plus 5, 7.5. Okay. So this is this. Now if you choose random arrival, so you are going to come and to the bus stop at a random time, okay, which is, that depends, you choose it very uniformly, okay, you don't try to distinguish when the 5-minute bus is coming, when the 10 minutes bus is coming, you're not looking at that, you just choose it random. So what's the chance of arrival in a 5-minute duration versus 10 minutes duration? So chance of probability of arrival in 5-minute duration is twice, is half the arrival in a 10-minute duration, right? Because your arrival, so this is observer arrival, observer, not the bus, observer arrival. Okay, so observer arrival in 10-minute duration, since it is twice the length of 5 minutes duration, it's more likely that you will fall in 10-minute duration. Okay, so basically, so with this, so we also know that observer arrival in 5 minutes plus observer arrival in 10 minutes is equal to 1, right? So either of the two should happen. Okay, so what is this? So this is, suppose if you say this is P, this is P, so this is what you will get, is equal to 1. So you actually realize that P is equal to 2 by 3, and so that is the P arrival in 10-minute duration, and P arrival in 5-minute duration is 1 over 3. That's easy to see, right? So 5 is twice as lengthy as 10, so this is what it will be. So now let us try to compute expected observed. So you are doing an experiment, okay, observed arrival, let's try to estimate that. So again we will use expected value of observed arrival. Okay, so we will use conditioning, condition on whether you choose 10 or 5 minutes. Okay, so interval type. So interval type can be 10 or 5 minutes. Okay, so if so what's the probability that interval type is 10, so that is equal to 2 over 3. Okay, and what is the expected observed arrival given that interval type is 10 minutes? Given interval type is 10 minutes. So that is going to be 10 minutes. So this is going to plus probability that interval type is 5 minutes into the same expected observed arrival given this. So this is going to be 2 by 3 into 10 plus 1 by 3 into 5. Okay, so if you do this, it is going to be 20 over 3 plus 25 over 3 Okay, this is equal to something like 8 3 8 24, yeah, so something of the order of 8.33, something like this. Okay, then that is certainly not equal to 7.5. Okay, so what ends up happening is, if you have this random incidence, when you come without any careful thought, if you do an experiment, there is a chance that you will have this kind of a fallacy. You will make a wrong conclusion. Okay, so this example, I hope, makes it very clear why this experiment is flawed. Okay, I hope you can follow this. All right, thank you. So that's about it, I think. Okay, so there he makes an interesting observation. So basically, sometimes, this kind of experimental bias can cause very puzzling results. So one thing is what he says. Let me just carefully listen to him once again. What he says. Okay, so this is the observation that Tzitziki says. So he says that there are two statements which are apparently contradictory. So average family size is 4. That is one statement. And average person lives in a family of size 6. So these are two different statements, right? How can it be possible that the average family size is 4 but average person lives in a family of 6? So this idea is also the same, right? So if you take all families, so there may be, let's say, 1,000 families, okay, 1,000 families. So if you take each family, so family 1 plus the cardinality of family 1 plus cardinality of family 2 plus cardinality of family 3, if you do this, divide by 1,000, this is equal to 4. So that is the first part. Average person, on the other hand, is a different thing, right? Each family has family 1, person 1, okay, plus family. So you have these kind of population, family 1, person 2, family 1, person 3, and so on. So similarly, family 2, person 1, family 2, and so on. So there are all these populations. You pick a person at random, and then you look at what is the family size that that person belongs to. Okay, now since there are more people who are living in bigger families, so bigger families will have more people. Therefore, when you pick a person at random, it's more likely that you will choose a bigger family. Therefore, when you look at the average person who lives in that such a family, how many family members he has, this number tends to be higher. Okay, this is not a contradiction because the two experiments are completely different. Okay, so yeah, so that is the next thing that is related to this random incidence. Okay, so this is about it. Thanks.